It's so nice to see you again. Woohoo! So the last interview, we were talking about the Bellydance superstars and Mike Copeland, and you mentioned Shakira. And I want to know more about your experience with Shakira and how she also brought belly dance mainstream in what, early 90s?
Late 90s. Well, actually, more around 2000.
All right, can you share?
Yes. Well, my experience, I didn't know who she was. She was a famous Colombian singer, very young. And one day, one of the agents called my office, my studio, because I would book out dancers and book myself as well. And she called and she said, there's a Latin American singer. She's coming out with a new album, and I need two dancers to be there. And we were hired for 2 hours. So when you booked by the hour, the pay was really good, even though you didn't dance all that time. You might dance for a short time. So I booked myself and another dancer named Moki. She's dances, now she's in Asheville, North Carolina, actually, still teaching. And so we were sent to this restaurant in South Beach. The restaurant was just empty completely. And there were just the waiters and waitresses and cooks and everything. And we're there and they're playing Shakira's Colombian music. We were told that just move around even though nobody's there. So we're moving around. And one of my experiences, I had just been in a commercial where they hairsprayed my hair, and I backed up into a candle and all the hairspray caught on fire. My hair actually singed, but my head, I didn't get hurt or anything. It was like, oh my God, and put it out. But then we're there going, what are we doing? This music has nothing to do with belly dance and nobody's here. Then suddenly the door opens and this young girl with red hair from here down and black roots, big black roots, comes in surrounded by an entourage of men, businessmen. One was Esteban, Gloria Esteban's husband. And it was so long ago. Do I remember all this stuff? I don't know. And lots of Sony music people, all like serious suit guys. And they all walk in and I'm like looking and they go in the back room and they didn't pay attention to us. And then somebody said, okay, belly dancers, come in here. And they're giving speeches after speeches after speeches. And the young girl is thanking all the executives and thanking this person and that person. Suddenly, we still don't know what we're doing there. And suddenly, this song that was so amazing, I never heard anything like it, comes on. And it was Ojos Asi. It was Arabic and Latin mixed together. And this man who turned out to be Shakira's father is Lebanese, or maybe Lebanese or Lebanese Colombian, I'm not sure. Anyway, he picks each of us up and puts us on the stage and says, dance. And we're dancing to that amazing song. And then when we left, they gave us all these little presents. One of them was the CD for Ojos Asi. There was a magnifying glass, little, I don't know what other stuff, little paraphernalia. And then I had another gig afterwards at a birthday party. So I gave this CD to the DJ and I said, play this number. And I danced to it. He's like, what is that? And I told him, he was actually my friend, one of the dancers in my troupe's brother was the DJ. And so he's like, what is that? I don't know, but I'm going to choreograph it for the troupe. So then I looked at the liner notes and different musicians that I knew were on the CD. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Miriam Ellie, Jose Tunian, a man named Fadi. I don't remember his last name. So I was like, wow, this is a well-kept secret. And so I put it on in class, in my beginner's class the next Monday. And one girl with blonde hair, tall, beautiful girl, she said, oh, is that Shakira? And I said, do you know about Shakira? And she's like, oh, of course. My husband is a musician in the industry and he works with they have the same drummer and some different things like that. And so I'm like, oh, so she's really famous. And she's like, yeah. And that blonde girl was Boshenka. But Boshenka was Betty back then. And she was in the beginner's class still. And that was November, I believe it was November 1998. And she was right after her 8-week class, she was so talented that when she auditioned for the company she got in, it was just like, oh my gosh, God, she is really good. So anyway, then I didn't think anything about it after that, except for I did choreograph the song. And we were dancing to the song throughout 1999 before anybody knew about the song. It was like we'd do it at all the belly dance conventions and this and that with my troupe. And finally, it was later, maybe around 2000, that Shakira became really, really famous. Of course, she was famous in some circles, but she wasn't globally famous. Suddenly, she was everywhere you'd go. Like I went to Hong Kong, I went to different countries, and I'd hear that song. I was like, wow, this song really got around. It took a while. It's not like it came out and it boomed. No, it took time. And then Miriam Ellie was her drummer, she's also a dance teacher, and they worked closely together, especially at least the first 5 years. And she did a lot of work with her on choreography and stuff. So her and Joe, they're partners in this group called Harmonic Motion. So one day, it must have been 2000, I don't know, it's early 2000s. Shakira was already famous, but I hadn't realized that Shakira had bleached her hair blonde. It's a totally different look. So my studio was on the 5th floor of a building down the hall from a photographic studio where they would photograph all the famous Spanish stars for magazines and for the CD covers. And so you'd see all these famous people in the hallway, even though it was a dumpy building, but they'd be in the hallway. Well, I had my door open, I was playing Arabic music, and I was lighting incense and candles. I was having a jam session, and I invited a lot of Middle Eastern musicians and then people that are interested in the music to come and sit in. And so this blonde girl, she looks so young. She comes up and she's like, "What are you doing here? What is this going to be?" And I said, "Oh, it's a jam session. It's for Middle Eastern musicians. Do you play?" And then I said, "Do you play an instrument?" She said, "A little bit of doumbek." I'm looking at her and I'm like, kind of thought that I didn't know really that Shakira had bleached her hair, but somewhere I think I saw it. Anyway, I'm looking at her and I'm like, "Are you Shakira?" No, I said, I don't remember what happened, but she said, "Oh yeah, I know Joe and Miriam." I'm like, "Are you Shakira?" And she said, "Yes." And she laughed and she told Miriam that she got such a kick out of it because there was finally somebody that didn't recognize her. So I was like, I had no idea. I invited her to the jam session anyway, but she didn't come, of course. But Joe and Miriam did. All the other folks in town did. So anyway, I never had any encounters with her after that, except for once when I was in Argentina teaching a workshop. She was in Argentina and me and her didn't meet up, but Miriam, she said, "Oh, you're in Argentina? I'm here too." And you can see her on a lot of the videos with the big red hair playing darbuka in the background. And she's like, "Let's meet for lunch." So we had lunch with me and Miriam. And then at some point around that time or soon after, Boženka was becoming a big star. And I think it was probably around 2004, so many different dates in the early 2000s anyway. So they discovered Boženka, and she's an incredible dancer. And so they're like, "We want you to to choreograph wherever, whenever. And then until now, she still choreographs a lot for Shakira. Every time she comes, Boženka now lives in Greece, but every time she comes home, they, or many times they fly her somewhere to work with Shakira. So that was my experience, and my experience was little, but people around me had big experiences with her. So that's how much I experienced. But what I experienced in the business of belly dance regarding Shakira, one thing is that since she started belly dancing to that song Ojos Asi, people went crazy. The dance, it really helped the dance explode. She actually, I know that she had belly danced all her life because I saw a video from on YouTube from when she was 12 years old. And she sings the song Atini Nai, which is sung by Feiruz. It's a Khalil Gibran poem. It's very deep for a 12-year-old to be singing, but she's in a full-on belly dance costume, belly dancing and belly dancing like a 12-year-old, but belly dancing, it's like, wow, that's pretty cool. So she continued developing and creating and fusing it into like a more rock type feeling of dance. And she's amazing. And she had a lot of help with choreography from Boženka and also from Miriam. And actually, wherever she went, suddenly classes would mushroom. At the time, I'm jumping around because I would say anything from 1999 to 2005 is all mixed up in all of this. But I remember time periods where I would be about to start a beginner's class, and suddenly it's like, wow, how come today so many people are calling? Or how come this week so many people are calling? And it was basically because there had just been a Shakira concert. And every time she'd have a concert, boom, people would sign up for belly dancing. And so when I later traveled as a workshop instructor and I would travel all over the world, people did reference belly dance superstars and Shakira. Some people are like, oh, I started dancing because I saw Shakira. Some people, I started dancing because I saw the superstars. And again, in Latin America, it was mostly, or a lot of it was from the Clone television show, which we'll talk about another day. Yes.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing. So next week, yes, we'll be talking about El Clone. So thank you so much. See you next
You're
week.
welcome. Thank you for the interview.
It's fun.